And the U.S. has said Raisi had a lot of blood on his hands despite offering condolences after his death. Let's bring in international affairs analyst Ilyasu Gadu. So good to have you on Newsnight tonight. Apparently, I mean, this really came as a shock over the weekend with what happened to the Iranian president. But let's talk about reactions and what, the U.S. is saying that, well, his death will not necessarily cause any security risk in the region. Do you agree with that? Because there are those who are asking, what impact this would have on the region as a whole.
Well, first of all, let me offer my condolences, like everyone else, to the people of Iran and the world in general and the Middle East about this very, very tragic incident. It's a very, very tragic one, and our thoughts with his family and with the Iranian government. Now, having said that, this death is a tragedy, it's unfortunate, and if this death had happened elsewhere in other regions of the world, it would have been treated just like, a normal routine issue, which would be, investigated, and then at the end of the day, there will be condolences and all that. But there has been speculations, so far about the death and why it happened. And, because the Middle East is a very volatile region, because the Middle East is now tense, people are really minutes into it, which is unfortunate. But then we look at the circumstances of the crash, which is quite, telling. That is to say that there have been reported fog, and that area is isolated, mountainous, and it's very unfortunate to read any meanings in it. Of course, investigations would be conducted into what happened, which is normal. And then if at the end of the day it's passed on as a normal occurrence, yes, of course, it will be passed on. But if it becomes something that, some power or some protagonist, or maybe Israel or any other person, any other country is involved, then that will escalate tensions in the Middle East, which is unfortunate.
Well, as it is now, I think you've just highlighted that. But again, let's talk about, because before his death, he was being touted as the one to take over from the supreme leader, Khamenei. Now that is gone, are you looking at any figure that ultimately may come in as the next Iranian leader?
Well, there won't be any shortage of people who would take over that position. Khamenei has been a very, very, effective successor to Ayatollah Khomeini. And of course, the Iranians have grown in terms of leadership and all that. There will be quite a number of people. I think Ibrahim Raisi would have made a very good successor to Khamenei, because he is a moderate. He's not like the other the other president, Ahmadinejad, and he's somebody who at least appears to be moderate, appears to be nuanced in his attempt, in his approach to issues, especially regional issues.
Yes, you just called him moderate, but for some other Western leaders, like specifically the United States, you had what the United States said. Look, that though he's gone, we're sorry, but he's got blood on his hands.
Yeah, but if you're looking for United States to actually praise anybody in Iran, it will be a difficult thing, because as far as the Americans are concerned, Iran is a pariah, and nothing good will come out of Iran, even if they are moderates. But of course, there has to be moderates. In any society, you cannot have everybody being, on the other side. There could be people who would be nuanced. And if you compare Ahmadinejad and Raisi appears to be moderate, and that's what this is. And then, of course, the United States is partisan in the whole thing. So, of course, Iranians, as general, especially the leadership of Iran, would be cast in that mold by the Americans. So it's not anything new, really.
Yeah. Well, Israel is saying we won't shed any tears, for what's happened with the Iranian president. What do you think about this?
That's unfortunate.
Yeah,
really. It's a very unfortunate.
Coming from Israel.
That's very unfortunate, because the death of any person, especially leader of that caliber, it should be something for us to set aside our differences. We are looking for peace in that region. We need to set aside our differences and to appear nuanced. Even at the height of whatever war and hostilities, you need to be responsible. You need to be, you need to be cagey in you need to think about the loss that this has occurred to the people of Iran and all that. But for Israel to make that statement is very unfortunate.
Well, Raisi was seen as a hardliner, and of course he was part of the command center for that, retaliatory bombing against Israel. Do you think with his death, with him out of the way, tempers may soften somewhat between Iran, Israel, and as a matter of fact, within that region as a whole?
If there were any reasons for the Iranians to be tempered in the situation as it is in the Middle East, it has the Israelis have squelched it, because by making such statements, they are trying to ratchet up the tensions in that area. They should instead would have made statements of conciliation. This is an opportunity for people to come across and say, look, this is our loss. Or in some cases you might say, look, hey, we are with you in this, but despite the fact that we are at war with you, or some kind of belligerence with you, we need to be able to understand the situation. And it's not proper that opportunities like this are lost, because it's an opportunity. They say, don't make, don't waste an opportunity for you to engage, because that's what is needed in the Middle East, and statements like this do not help the matter.
And let's take this still within the region. We've seen what South Africa is doing concerning Israel, and now in the ICC prosecutor has just applied for an arrest warrant on the Prime Minister of the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. What does this mean for the region as well as the conflict in Gaza?
I think it's about time a restraining hand is placed on Netanyahu. He has carried on as if he is the only leader in the world. He has carried on in a manner that is not conciliatory. He has carried on in a manner that is not conducive to peace efforts in that area. And even the Americans are sick and tired of him, because they've called him to side and said, look, hey, we need to be able to, but it has become
But at the same time, America, the United States, is still giving arms to Israel. Well, very quickly, Netanyahu has responded to that, saying it's absurd that the ICC bid to arrest Israeli leaders is the new anti-Semitism.
No, I don't think anybody will believe him, because he has used that as an excuse not to engage, not to come to peace, not to come to terms. Responsible leaders have asked him to please calm down. Let's sit down. It's not you alone in this matter. It's the world. Your children are dying. We want peace in that area. There can be nothing for anybody in the Middle East if war breaks out. In fact, the whole world will be affected by it. So Netanyahu must not, continue to think, that we are back in the days of the Nazi era. The world has changed. We need to be able to change, and he must be brought to the negotiating table, so that whatever Israel seeks, the peace it seeks, and whatever the Palestinians seek can be negotiated. There is no need to continue to be obdurate, to be very, very reconciliatory on this matter.
We'll have to say thank you very much. Gadu is International Affairs Analyst. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure being here.